Good morning, Cheyenne. Happy Mother's Day 2020. What a year it's been, huh? With everything we have been going through to stay healthy at home, I feel that moms deserve that frontline worker reimbursement, I believe, just because of everything extra you've had to do this year. I know that there must be something magical about the number that it is 5/10/2020, 5/10/20. But more significant is that it's Mother's Day. So happy Mother's Day to everyone. Celebration of Mother's Day and motherhood can be traced back throughout the history of the world, especially to the ancient Greeks and Romans who held festivals in honor of the mother goddess Rhea and Cybele. But the clearest modern precedent for Mother's Day is the early Christian festival known as Mothering Sunday, that was brought into the world during the Middle Ages and once a major tradition in England, the United Kingdom, and other parts of Europe. This celebration fell on the fourth Sunday in Lent. And it was originally seen as a time when the faithful returned to their mother church, their mom's church, and the main church in the vicinity of their home for a special service. Over the time, of course, Mothering Sunday has become more secular. Flowers are bought, cards are bought. And actually, the woman who started the Mother's Day in America, that was so happy that it became a holiday 6 years after she approached the Congress to start it, fought for the rest of her life to keep it from being so commercialized. So, some thoughts on mothers this morning. Mothers hold their children's hands for a short while, but they hold their hearts forever. You'll never know the love of a parent until we become parents ourselves. The heart of a good mother is a deep abyss at the bottom which you will always find forgiveness. Who's getting more pleasure from rocking a baby, the baby or the mother? A mother is a person who is seeing there are only 4 pieces of pie for 5 people and promptly announced she really didn't like that kind of pie in the first place. My mom's menu consisted of 2 choices: take it or leave it. And then there was one man that said, when I was a boy, my mom wore a mood ring. When she was in a good mood, it turned blue. When she was in a bad mood, it left a big red mark right here on my forehead. But happy Mother's Day 2020. How did I do that? I copied the whole thing all over again. So, that works. By the time a child reaches 18 years old, a mom has to handle some extra 18,000 hours of child-generated work, and that's before the lockdown for the virus. I would hate to think of how many hours exponentially that's added to your all's roles. One middle school science teacher was talking to a class, and he gave the students a quiz. He said, "My name begins with an M, and I pick up things. What am I?" And one boy said, "Your mom or mother." No, he was talking about magnets, but that's okay. How do you know if you're really a mother? Have you ever heard yourself saying, "Because I said so"? That's why. If you're gonna kill each other, do it outside. I just finished cleaning. You better pray that will come out of the carpet. You'll still sit there until all that spinach is finished. If I've told you once, I've told you 1,000,000 times, don't exaggerate. I brought you into this world, and and I can take you out. You ever heard yourself saying that to your children? It's been a special year, as we've said, and special times. Ralph Waldo Emerson said once that what men are is what their mothers make them to be. Abraham Lincoln said that no man is poor who has a godly mother. And we have plenty of images of mothers in scriptures. I love the mother of Moses, who cared so much for her son that she broke the law in order to teach him the faith of his people. We see the sacrificial love of the mother who appeared before King Solomon and told him that she was willing to have her son taken away by another woman rather than see any harm come to him. And speaking of these ladies in King Solomon, if you think the Bible shows only perfect women can be mothers, I challenge you to go find that story in the Bible and read the first line. You will find out that these mothers weren't quite respectable ladies. I'll leave it at that. I'll let you do some homework. The mother of James and John, who loved her boys so much that she went to Jesus to ask them to sit by his side in the heavenly kingdom. King Lemuel wrote a whole chapter about his mother. We read in Proverbs 31. And I know most of you ladies have read that. But I'm aware that Mother's Day is a difficult time for some of us. Some of us have lost our mothers. Some of us have been wanting to be mothers for all their life. But for some reason, they were never chosen. Maybe some of you didn't have the best mother in the world. Like I said, maybe some of us have lost our mother recently. Some of the mothers out there may have lost a child due to death. And some of you feel the pain of a wayward child this morning. And some of you are flying solo, trying to play both roles, and trying to nurture your children into the people you want them to become. This morning I want to begin by giving you my view on nurturing a child's faith. A mother can make significant spiritual impact on her children with or without the help of a father, and we have a perfect example. I'd like to introduce you to a young woman. What did I do? Named Eunice. She was raised in a religious home, was greatly impacted by her own mother, Lois, and she loved to learn the stories from the Bible where she was young and enjoyed going to services where she could learn about God. As she approached her teenage years, she was still focused on spiritual matters, but she became attracted to a young Greek man who was not into her religion at all. Against the best wishes of her godly mother, the teaching of her faith, and the tug of her conscience, she married the man. You know, he was a nice guy, but he was pretty weak in spiritual matters. After a couple of years, Eunice and her husband had a baby boy they named Timothy. In the meantime, Eunice's dad had died, so they asked her mother, Lois, to come and live with them. Little Timmy was a delight to everyone. Both his mother and grandmother spent hours with him, teaching him the Old Testament stories, praying with him and for him, and training him in the things of God. And they did that without the help of VeggieTales or YouTube. Isn't that amazing? They also didn't have vacation Bible schools, either virtual or real. They created a spiritual environment where Tim could flourish. And one day, a preacher named Paul came to town and spoke about a man named Jesus. Both Lois and Eunice listened intently. They saw in Jesus the fulfillment of all the promises, of all those stories they taught Timothy. placed their trust in him and were converted. These new believers turned focus on teaching Timothy all about who Jesus was. We know from reading the books of Acts that Paul took a personal interest in Tim the teenager and led him to saving faith. Later, we found Paul and Timothy partnering together in ministry as the gospel spread throughout the area. Many years later, while Paul is in prison, he takes the time to write to Timothy, and we're going to read part of the letters to Timothy today. Today, we want to see exactly how a mom and a grandmom can make a significant spiritual impact. If you'd like to turn to 2 Timothy chapter 3. Paul writes these letters to Timothy to instruct him on how to live his life the rest of the way. And instruct him on what is right and what is wrong. But he also writes these letters to him to let him know that he sees where he came from. We're in 2 Timothy chapter 3, and we're going to be reading verses 10 through 15. Now you followed my teaching, conduct, purpose, faith, patience, love, and perseverance. You followed my persecutions and my sufferings, such that happened to me at Antioch and Iconium and Lystra.